Alrighty, let's pick up where we left off. I need to collect my bearings. I did just take a little break. I think this is the third video for the day. It's always good when we're productive. I know I always feel just about the best when I am making things that I enjoy. Anyway, let's go to the notes. Update stat changes, invalid equipment indicator. Alright, so finish. We really made a huge dent in that earlier. Let me close up some of this. I think we were, at this point, we were working on the field menu. And I had just outlined this stuff. We made the player menu card, which we instanced to create that. I do need this to be aligned at the top. That way, if we only have 2 party members, right, we want it to draw like that instead of centered. But like I mentioned previously, we're probably going to always have 4 party members, kind of like Final Fantasy, the first one. I mean, I imagine 2 as well, and maybe 3 also had that party member limit. So we have this. Now we need to get the functionality of this menu. So we don't need the left side, which is this. I might even call this left, just so I know right away. And we have right. And in left, we can call this one players. I think that makes sense. Alright, so options needs our menu class that we made previously. I think in video 1. Way back. So now it's a menu. Field menu is going to need a script. And then I might want to look at shop GUI real quick. And pretty much going to copy this. Let me think. Set enabled. I think we need to make a base class, and kind of like what we did with the player character, how we made that. I think I still have my paint. We took the player, which was all we had, right? Imagine that all this other stuff didn't exist, and then I adapted player to be an actor, and then I extended that functionality to work for all 4 of these classes. So all 4 of these have the functionality from actor, but they specifically only add the functionality that they need. So player doesn't care how NPC works or shopkeeper and etc. It's all separate. We're going to do the same thing here, where I'm going to make a, let's call it like full screen menu, maybe? Full screen GUI. Full screen, yeah. I'm going to do that. We're going to give it a class name. And then we need to figure out what is specific, so we can do this. GUI. Alright, full screen GUI, I need to have it extend actually a control. Because it's always going to be control based. Now I can go back to shop menu, and everything should be fine. It's extending full screen GUI, but that doesn't have anything yet. But we don't have to worry about that right now. What we do want, what do we absolutely need? I think we need enabled. And these. Well, no, those are going to be custom. So I think really we just want the input stuff. Maybe we just want this. And then this will always be custom. Alright, so set enabled is going into full screen GUI. We're taking enabled from that. And that's going to go into the full screen GUI as well. If on options button focus. So I think we're going to need top menu. That's going to be a menu. Here's null. This is going to get changed to top menu. And that should work for that. Let's think. So now in shop GUI, I need to set top menu to options. Save everything, should update. I might have to do a restart. This top menu should be there. Let's see if it updates. If not, we'll just do a reload. Alright, that should fix it. We'll do a save and reload. As always, let me know if you have any questions, any feedback whatsoever. It's always helpful. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you got. I want to help you make your game. Okay, so we're back, we're loaded. It looks like that fixed our problem. Our trusty reload current project. So now, I think what we want to do is automate this. So instead of calling that options, we're going to replace that in most cases with top menu. I'm going to go, whoops, let me undo. We don't want that one, we want this one. Let's make it match case and whole words. So we do that, and now, so we set that there. Set enabled false. Let's call it init. And then we have we can do top menu. Stop. And then we're going to move all of this. So we're going to init options. And then we can put this in there. Go back to our full screen GUI. And I think do that after. Just looks cleaner. So we automated that init. You know what? Let's just call this set top menu. Keep in mind, I'm always working in real time. I'm making this as I would normally. I.e., in essence, what I'm trying to say is that I'm, refactoring as I go along. I'm making improvements. I'm trying to figure out quality solutions, not necessarily the best solutions, but something that works well enough, and that, importantly, is legible, especially for future me. All right, then we have our second menu. Here's our sub menu here. So that one gets connected on its own, and this is so this is everything that's specific to that, which is fine. Full screen GUI has that functionality for it. Good. Let's go back. We're kind of just bouncing between these two scripts right now, figuring out what we need, what we don't. The input, this is now going to be, we can replace that one. And top menu dot button focus. I think that makes sense. So I probably could automate that if we do like sub menu. In fact, I kind of like that. Let's do this. So we go here. At the very top, we're going to do connect menu. Button focus, button pressed. Why don't we put that in menu? Do it up here. So it's going to be function connect to owner. It's going to be node. Then we're going to pass basically this, but now we can do top menu dot connect to owner. Let's just put connect to node, and then we put self. We can plop this in. Instead of this, we're going to put node in, because we're changing who is connecting that. So now the menu is calling connect, and it's connecting to the node that is requesting that. So that automatically gives us all of our the functions we want there. I don't think we need a separate now. And so we'll have sub menu. Null. And I guess we can do menu. Which is basically the same as the above. We're just changing top menu to sub menu. We do sub menu dot connect to node sub. Oh, you know what? The only problem is this. So we could use name. Do this 1 plus name plus that. Just kind of copy that format, replace that. So we set top menu, set sub menu. This also makes it very clear what we're doing. So now we don't need that. So we go through, get all the options. Go to the top menu. Those can stay. Now we want to look at items and see if there are any places that we need to replace that. This will be replaced with sub menu. Let's see. I think it makes sense there. These names should continue working. We can double check our menu names. Alright, so we have options. I think we can, I guess we'll just rename that if we want to use that. Looks like items are already named correctly. We go to middle. We'll see that menu name there. So, in other words, our these signals should still work. I'm going to do some testing on that real quick. Yeah, I mean, everything seems like it's working. We're getting a yellow error. That's usually if you're not using an argument. I can get rid of that. We're not using that there, so that fixes that. We're printing a resource. I don't know exactly where I'm doing that. We can track that down later. It's probably this right here. Okay, so full screen GUI. We have field menu. That's going to extend full screen GUI. Whoops, 1-0. So now it's inheriting all of this behavior. So we can get that field menu open. And we can start getting the functionality in there. I take that back. I need to finish going through shop GUI and just make sure I have everything I need from it. Now, okay, look at this. So we do if submenu and submenu is focused. So if that is valid, we want to do this. Otherwise, like, we're always going to back out. Excuse me. So that's going to go into our full screen GUI now. So that's not, we've made the code universal, and so it'll work for the shop GUI as well as the field menu or any other full screen GUIs that we want to implement, theoretically. So first, we need to get a reference to our menus, right? It's going to be, we do set top menu. That's going to be options. So we want to get a reference to options. Or I'm sorry, I'm not an array. We're doing just the menu. So we do that. Set top menu to options. Set enabled. We do want that to be false. I might actually. Yeah, we'll always call it after that. There's our field menu. And by default, when we turn that field menu on, based on set enabled, it's going to send us to the top button on our top menu if we're turning it on. So let's test that out in the game view. We're going to be expanding our canvas layer. So dialog box, I'm going to put, our field menu should just work on its own in this canvas layer. Alright, so we have that. We want to turn it off. And let's see what's going on here. So we have that. And so what I can do is I can add an additional unhandled input check. So let's make a menu input. I'm going to go up to sorry, I did that real fast. Project settings, input map, and we're going to type menu. Now for now, let's do key M and maybe key O. Now let's just do M for menu. That's pretty self-explanatory. I might also add, if they're playing with like kind of like your standard SNES emulator setup, I think menu would probably be the A key. No, we'll keep it at M. And then we'll add gamepad inputs. So it's going to be joy button, and you're going to do, for me, I'm thinking the top one, which is going to be button 3, right? I'm double checking. Yeah, that sounds right. So that's set up, and now I can go back to field menu, and we're going to add to unhandled input. We're going to check if input event is action pressed menu. Gotta put that in those. Then we're going to set enabled, not enabled. All right. So that doesn't care about the state. We're just going to. Wait, what? I put the I put it on the wrong. Okay, we gotta get rid of that. It needs to go in the V box. We're gonna call this options. Give that. It's gonna be the menu. I just had my script placed up too high on the tree. So now we run that, and we have to do some debugging. Options menu. I have to update my path. So I press M, nothing happens. Beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it. Let's look at this. Set enabled. It should be visible. Maybe that input is getting consumed somewhere. Let's just see if we're getting it. We're not receiving that input, which means something is eating it. Oh, I know why. It's because in enabled we turn off that unhandled input. So instead of doing that, I'm going to comment that out. And what we'll do is, if enabled and that, we're going to do that. Okay. That looks good. Here, just business as usual. Else return, I set it up that way. Set input as handled. I do that because we might add other cases. And now I press M, and look at that. We have a menu toggle. It goes to the first item. We just have to update the cursor position. We want to fix this error. So we didn't make those signals. That's on me. We'll fix that real quick. We need the signals, which I'm gonna pilfer. Just gonna yank this, like yoink. Put it down here, and we also cursor. Okay, cool. So field menu. Do you have a cursor? You do. We're gonna add that to the full screen GUI. Actually, I can just grab this from shop GUI. Because I think we're always going to have a GUI or a cursor in these. Go back to full screen. Now we have that reference. Beautiful. Go back to here. That should fix that. Then we can clear all this crap because we're not using that right now. Just going to do pass. I'm going to underscore that so it doesn't throw a warning. And I think actually we don't need focused. So we'll just have it in there. And pressed. So we'll do match button.text and say we have items. So just something like that. Let's do invalid button. We'll say we don't need that right now. So let's see, go to the menu. Cursor needs to update. We do need that here. Shop GUI. Feels like the cursor should be a bit more automated, but not worried about it right now. What? There we go. I go to menu, now our cursor works. And pretty much we need to make all of these menus, and we need to update the data over here. So items, let's go to town. I think we're going to copy this format for all of the submenus. I'm trying to think how I can automate this. Let's do some research. So we have a field menu. Let me sketch this out so you can follow along with my brain. So what we're going to do is make, first off, it's going to be field or full screen GUI. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Alright, so we have full screen GUI at the top. What I'm thinking is this goes down to, we have a main submenu. It's a main submenu. And it'll also go to, you have field menu. We have shop GUI. This is why I do this on paper sometimes. I mean, you know what I mean, digital paper, whatever. So we're gonna have like field submenu. Okay. We can draw a line. And basically, you have like items submenu. Or submenu items. Submenu equipment. And submenu. So that's the current hierarchy that we're thinking about. I just center that a bit for viewing. Maybe I'll even color code. It's a little bit big. We have top level. Then we have the sub. All right. Because these menus will still need the functionality from full screen GUI, but we specifically want all these field submenus to have a specific layout of their own, and we're just going to plop in all the data. I think that'll be the way to go, but you know, time will tell. Give me all of your leather caps. Bye. Bye bye. Hey, what's up? Okay. Hey, buddy. Here's the real shop. We have items, equipment. Let's look at status. What I've done in the past is combine the equipment and status window since they have so much overlap. It's a lot of data to fit, though. Here's the old one. Not as nice. Config, let's get a copy of that for later. Okay, I think we have enough reference material. I really need to make a folder. Call it FF. It's a long folder. Just gonna grab all of this and open that in a new tab. Go back, we're gonna get screenshots on this tab. Drag all of these into the references. Didn't work. There we go. I'm gonna hold control as I scroll my mouse wheel. That's gonna make these bigger. I usually go about that size. Okay. So I'm going to begin with items, I think. Well, first, I think the general layout is that we're going to have description at the bottom. We're going to have this title bar, which has the top level menu. It also tells us the title of the submenu we're in. And then we have this main window, which is what is going to change the most. And that will probably make that separate instances that we can just plop in while also updating everything else. I think that makes sense. And that way we can always keep a consistent theme for these as we go along. It's kind of a big undertaking, and I'm gonna grab my drink. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Maybe 20 seconds. Alright, what I really need to do is take a break and make a fresh pot of coffee. We'll see how far I can go here. Alright, let me get reacclimated. First off, games should always be at the top. So let's see, field menu, we have this, we are receiving the inputs. I need to handle those menus. So we have items, magic, equipment, status formation. Formation, I'm not going to make a submenu. I'm going to make a note about that real quick. Man, it's a lot at once. Formation, option, and main, and field menu. Just grab, focus on player cards, and use input handling to swap these around. Be sure to animate them as well. Okay. So we have that. Config, save. And yeah. So like I said, we're going to do items first. Excuse me. Background, gradient background. What's the size on this? That's dictated by the margin container, right? Okay. That's fine. So we're going to copy field menu, or duplicate it. Call it field submenu. Right, let's look at this. Field submenu. Field submenu, submenu items. I think that'll be alright. Field submenu. That. Right away we change the title so we don't confuse the two. Now, this is going to borrow heavily from the shop. So what I'm actually going to do is just copy that entire VBox. I think we just delete all this crap. And the right side. I should be able to paste that right in. And then we're just going to modify it to fit. So let's look at items. That pulled up. Okay. Is there a way to make this stay on top? That'd be cool. There probably is with, what do they call it? Power tools or something. PowerShell. But there's a functionality for that. That's alright. I think we'll do this for now. Squash that. Zoom this in. Whatever. I really need my coffee. My new coffee. But I'll at least get this outlined, and then what I'll probably do is take a quick break, and I'll come back and do, oh my gosh, my 4th video of the day. So our formatting is, so shop greeting is going to be the options. We're going to cut that. We're going to make a HBox container. We're going to give it menu. Close that. It's going to be called options. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have just dragged this up. Let's let's just do that, because we already have them formatted. Top, middle. I think for now we're just going to hide that. I don't know why it moves the whole thing. Shop type is going to be changed to menu title, menu name. Field submenu, we want to, let me look at my drawing again. Yeah, that's going to inherit directly from full screen GUI. I think that's the way to go. So type this in, full GUI. Field submenu, perfect. Last name. Alright, so that's its own thing. Right away, we always want to do function ready. Set top menu. It's going to be options. And it's going to be these. Options. So we're doing items, which means we are going to have an items menu. So we're going to adapt this one. We also don't need this middle right. I'm thinking. I want to set this up. I think it's going to be a grid container. We're going to make a custom scene that's going to have a button with the item name and quantity. That's going to be the way to go. So pretty much get rid of this. Get rid of info. Get rid of quantities. We can keep characters at the bottom. And notice how this one is the only one that extends. That's exactly the functionality we want. These we always want locked. And then we can turn characters on. I don't know if we need that in any of these. I'm just going to hide it for now. Description can stay. We have our cursor. Get it kind of outlined there. So items. First thing, let's see, it has a regular menu. We might extend menu for this, but for now, I'm going to change type to a grid container. Grid container is like a VBox container or an HBox, but let's say it's like a VBox, but you can have multiple columns. And so we're going to do 2 columns. And ultimately what's going to happen, I'll just kind of think. Let me think. I think we need to make... let's do this. getting to that point where I need the coffee. I need the coffee, man. Okay. It's gonna be item button. Item button. Or item button with quantity. Kind of a long name, but what can you do? It's going to get its own script. GUI. Okay, so it's going to have a var item. It's going to have... We'll come back to that. Right now I just need to draw it. I'm going to do top left. It's going to have a button. Need to set our theme. Always need to do that when we're making, working in a separate scene like that. If you need it. And I forgot need that up top. Actually, let's make that the scene root. We don't need this crap. Get rid of that. Oh, it should work. Wait, what? I have to look at these. Let's attach that. What happened here? Alright, so we have that item button quantity. Just gonna drag that up. Take this, put that there, get rid of that control. That's a better setup. It's gonna be cleaner. Now I need to put the theme back. Okay. Top left, make sure we're good. We got button, 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 button. Item, name. Why does this have so much? Okay, there we go. That's better. And I'm gonna have a label, which is gonna have the quantity. It's gonna be aligned right. Size flag, fill, shrink, end. I think. Let's just say 99. And it's not the functionality I want. Let's see. There we go. Just expand, shrink, end. So I'm just going to eyeball it. We kind of want enough room for the name. I also like to keep these divisible by 8, or at least divisible by 4. That's just kind of like, I don't know, it creates some kind of consistency. So maybe we do 80 and clamp that. So we have an item button with quantity. Now what we can do is go to our field submenu, delete all these buttons, and strictly for getting an idea of the layout, I go like this. Now I know I'm going to want to decrease my separation on this, at least my B separation. And we can increase this. Or, even better, I think we just do size flags, expand, and shrink. That might not work. No. We will stick with that, say 16, say 32. And I think we do want shrink center on the H. Looks like it's already pretty good, pretty well centered. Now it doesn't. So I can tell already we want a little bit more on this. Let's try 88. And then I'm going to decrease my... First off, why is this in an H box? We don't need that anymore. Items. And we're going to drop that down to 24. 20. Then I'm going to add more of these. And I can also do shrink center on the V. Make sure it's nice and centered in there. So I think we can probably do oh, I'm going to make these individual submenu items. And we can do something like this. I'm going to get a reference to that top, to the menu name. Put that comes after options. So we'll do right var. Call it title. Do that. Title.text is going to equal name, but we're going to subtract the first, so it's going to be you have to look at string. I always forget these. It's like we do remove or write. That's if we know from a given position. Yeah, so we'll do name.write. It's going to be, say, submenu.length. And I'm just going to see if I can run this on its own. How, I want to curse so much, but how effing cool is that? That little code worked on the first try. I'm very happy about that. And very, very nice. So what's going on here? What is this? I don't know where that's coming from. Uh-oh. Why do we have two of these? Why do we have two? Let's attach that. That opens that one. What happened to my other one? Oh man, I just lost that. That's alright. Button. Ah. So I think actually this needs to be a button. No, before I mess that up. We're going to make this the scene root. This is going to get that theme, if that would work. Just copy that. Let's paste that on the theme. Okay, and then we can clear that. I don't know if we need that H box now. It just needs that. It needs to be left aligned. And I'm going to figure out what that minimum size was we had. I think it was 88. Perfect. So we can't make that any smaller. That's good. We'll make 7. And we'll call this quantity. And that's just kind of manually placed right now. It's not really ideal. Oh, I know. It still works. Okay. Let's call this item button with quantity. I have to do that because, let me see if this works. Okay. Because the menu is expecting all of its children to be buttons. And so that's why I had to change that to a button. And then this extends button. Let's see if we can run the field sub menu again without any of those awful errors. Cool. All right, so I'm going to go make fresh coffee. I'll come back and hopefully finish up at least a couple of these sub menus. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck making your game.